how's it going? So today we're gonna spend a little time in the barn dividing dahlia tubers. I've already started the process a bit, but I have a lot more to do. And I was hoping to have this all done in April, but here we are in May. And this is just when we're gonna get it done. Honestly, we don't really plant dahlia tubers until May anyway, because we can get some pretty cold nights. In fact, one on the forecast is 37, but we're not getting down to freezing, I don't think, anymore. Last year we planted in June, so we are ahead of the game here. So far, I'm really happy with the quality of the tubers that are coming out of storage. I've never stored dahlias before, but this method worked beautifully. What I did is I stored them in our bulb crates. So Color Blend sends us our tulip and daffodil bulbs in these heavy-duty plastic crates that have openings on the side, kind of like milk crates, so they're breathable, and that's really important to keep kind of ventilation going to the tubers. I lined the crate with a burlap sack, and then I cleaned off the clumps of tubers, and I showed this in a video last fall, but cleaned them off, let them kind of drip dry, and then I stacked them in those crates in between layers of slightly moistened vermiculite. I think the biggest concern I saw was the moisture I added to the vermiculite, because that excess moisture could make the tubers rot. But I actually had the opposite problem. I could have stood to add a little bit more moisture because we are so dry here. I did lose a few tubers to desiccation. They just dried out. And you should be checking them on a monthly basis. I didn't because, you know, we had Samantha. I had other things going on. But really, it's been just a small handful of them so far that have dried out. Most of them look great. I think storage methods vary greatly depending on your climate. I mean, if you live in a really humid climate, adding moisture to your vermiculite or whatever storage medium you're using might sound crazy, and it might be. For me, it was just kind of like, I'm gonna try this method out and see if it works, and it did. I had them in our root cellar, just stacked up in there. It stayed pretty constant, like 40 to 55-ish degrees, except for the couple of days I accidentally left a floor heater on and it got into the 80s in there. It was like 83 or 85 or something like that. But they don't seem to have minded it. They look good. So this is my setup right here in the barn. It is a messy job, so I did put a tarp down. Now I brought this out too because I wanted to show you, like, if you need a really good guide on dahlias, you should get this book. It's super good and super great information, full of information. I worked on these two crates yesterday, so these are the piles that I separated. There's so many tubers. And then I saved a few in the crates right here that I'm just gonna plant whole. Like this one right here is a labyrinth. It's just really pretty. It's a good looking one. And I don't really want to separate them all down. Like, you could essentially separate them down to individual tubers and it would be totally fine. You can see that one has like 3 growth points right there. Maybe I'll separate them down. I don't know. I actually anticipate being able to give away quite a few tubers because, like, I would plant a clump of 2 or 3 tubers and it would turn into 20 tubers. It's crazy. So I really am just kind of dividing these clumps down to manageable size, like to the size that I think will fit in the holes that we've dug out in the garden. And then I'm just gonna leave it at that. So let me show you in closer detail what we've got going on here. This is a clump of labyrinth dahlias. Isn't it beautiful? They've just stored so great. Each one of these tubers will create a new dahlia plant. So each tuber has 3 main parts. There's the body, which is kind of this bigger part here. It has all of the energy and nutrients to create your dahlia plant. This is the neck, which holds the body of the tuber onto what they call eyes. So you can see the kind of that swollen area there, and it actually has a little growth point right there. So when you're dividing dahlia tubers, you have to make sure that all 3 of those parts are intact. So each tuber body has to have a neck that is not broken, and they are pretty fragile. And when you're cutting this apart, each tuber has to have an eye. So like this growth point right here is actually coming from this tuber right down here. So when you're sizing this up, trying to decide where you want to cut it, it's easier to get it into smaller manageable pieces first. So I would cut like right down through here and cut the clump in half, and then I would reassess and maybe start cutting in, you know, over here and extracting pieces. Today, I'm probably just gonna cut it in half and then maybe quarters, so that each clump has like 2 or 3 tubers, and that's what I'm gonna plant. So here are the piles I worked on yesterday. See, most of the tubers look so great. And this is a really good example of like tuber, neck that is intact right there. And then if you look up here, there's growth points right there. So when I plant this, it'll be tuber down, eye facing up, and that's just perfect. The ones that I'm running across that don't look quite as good, like this one right here, see that ribbing? That's because it's dried out a little bit. but it still has a really healthy growth point, so I'm gonna go ahead and plant it. I planted some that looked like this last year and they ended up being completely fine. So anyway, just piles and piles of dahlia tubers. And here's the root cellar where they were stored. So 12 more crates against the back wall. They were just stacked right there all winter long. Still got some pumpkins that are actually good still. I can't even believe it. Something else exciting. Look at my glad corms. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me pull this out. Do you think my gladiolus enjoyed storage? For crying out loud, I need to get with it and get these things planted. Okay, so this is gonna be a pretty big job. I think we will probably get in close, show you some close-up kind of slower action cuts of these clumps, and then we'll probably speed it up. And it's gonna, I don't even know how long this is gonna take me. I should probably like keep track. Look at this. Cheddar, what are you doing? So this is as far as I'm going to divide like that first clump I showed you. And don't worry about different size tubers. They'll all produce a really beautiful plant. Just because like this one is shorter and like thicker than this one doesn't mean that one is better than the other. These I'm gonna leave together right here because see how these are all kind of like intertwined, and I couldn't figure out how to get them cut well enough to where all the eyes were connected to each one of the tubers. And these will fit down in our planting holes perfectly. So that's how I'm doing it. Okay guys, so one more before I fly into this project. Look at how weird this one looks. It came out of the ground with like the long stalk right here that's all broken. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it in half that way so that I've got two pieces to deal with. And you can see multiple growth points coming out here. So this one should be fairly easy to divide. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the rest of this piece off. And we've got one tuber right there with a growth point. That's perfect. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut it in half right here. And I'm just gonna leave these. This will be in a grouping of 3. There's a growth point right here. And then there's this clump here that has a growth point. And then for this other half, you can see that this one is wanting to pull apart from that main stem, but the neck on this one is broken. So this one is no good. We're gonna cut that one off. And then we're left with this one right here. And then there's a growth point right up top here. Hopefully you guys can see that well enough. Okay, I'm gonna cut the clump here. We've got our body, our neck. The necks are not always really long. Sometimes they are, like this one's longer and more slender. Isn't that weird that that came from the same clump? So the neck is right here, and then we've got growth points right up. You can see swollen parts right up here. I'm gonna leave that one in one piece. I'm gonna trim this part off. And then this is the last piece. This is kind of weirdly shaped, but it should be fine. We've got the neck and we've got the swollen eyes right up here. So that one clump turned into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plants. And it could really turn into more if you wanted it to. So let's take a look at this clump right here. Like I would normally just leave this in one piece, but it's too wide to fit in the hole. So I'm gonna cut this one into a few pieces. You can see the growth point right here on top of this tuber. You can see the eyes. See those, oh, those are really good eyes right there. See that? Right on top of that one. And there's another growth point right here. So let me attack this one really quick and then I'll show you what it looks like. So that one turned into 3. There's this one right here. You can see the growth coming out there. There's this one, there's its growth. And this one right here has eyes right in there. A new day. It took me forever to divide all those dahlias. I don't even know how many I ended up with. I'll have a very good idea after I get done planting, because I don't know, can't even remember if I told you I have 288 holes prepared out in the cut flower garden, and that's where we're gonna head next, so I can just show you where they're gonna go. But you know, I felt like toward the middle part of getting all the crates done, I was starting to get a lot better at it. Like I was getting better at identifying all the eyes, and I wasn't having to go quite as slow. Also, I don't think it's a process where you have to be that careful. I mean, I think you're going to end up sacrificing a few tubers in order to cut through some of those clumps. They were so thick and like so intertwined that I had to. But I ended up with a lot. Like I think one of the clumps, I ended up with like an insane over 20 tubers on one clump, which is crazy. So I have some crates sitting here in the root cellar, and then I just started piling them out here because they really don't need to be in storage anymore. We're gonna plant them this week. But I did keep them covered. Like even though I didn't pack all the tubers back up in vermiculite, I kind of just laid them on top. See that? This just kind of keeps the air off of them so that they don't dry out, just in case it takes me more than a day or two to get them in the ground. Okay, so let's head out to the cut flower garden. I'll show you our setup. It's very similar to, well, it's exactly the same as last year. It's just in a different location. So here we are out in the cut flower garden. Last year, let me pan around here. Last year we just plunked the cut flower garden right over there. And now we're in our permanent location. Not to say the dahlias are gonna live in this location every year, but I thought it'd be really pretty to have them closest to the driveway so that, you know, anybody driving through and us that are driving through a lot will be able to see them because they are the most gorgeous crop. It's also a little bit breezy out here as per usual, so I apologize if the audio is a little sketch. I didn't wear a mic this morning. So you can see we have 6-foot T-posts is what we started with, which I don't think you necessarily have to have them that tall. But I thought, well, when we're buying the T-posts, we may as well buy the tall ones. That way we can use them for multiple different things. And then we've got some twine, or rope rather, tied to them at 2-foot and 3-foot spacing right there. And then as the dahlias grow, we just use that rubber coated wire to lash them to the rope if needed. But this year we got smarter and we put all the holes, you can see that all the holes have already been dug right along the drip tape there. We used drip tape that has emitter holes every 6 inches. We tried the 12-inch spacing last year and the coverage of water just wasn't good enough. So the drip tape that has the holes every 6 inches just works better. Anyway, the holes are spaced a foot apart from each other, and we put them on the west side of the staking system instead of the east side because the wind blows this direction, so it'll blow them right into the staking system instead of, you know, blowing them possibly down into the, you know, the row in front of it. We planted our dahlias so late last year. I looked it up, it was June 29th, which is about a month and a half or a little bit more later than usual. So we didn't even have to use our staking system very much. I think I tied like 4 or 5 dahlias up, that's it. But this year, since they'll have that extra growing time, I think we'll actually need to use it. The other thing, we have got the holes pre-dug, but I need to amend all the areas because they do like a really rich soil. So we're gonna work in compost, biotone starter fertilizer like last year, and what I'll do is I'll have a bag and I'll just walk down the row and just pour some in the area. I don't like fully amend the area because it's huge, and we'll just kind of work on it over time. And then we will, when we plant, the tubers will go 4 to 6 inches down into the ground, and then we'll cover them over. Typically, I see some instructions tell you not to water them until you see some green growth come up above the soil. We're so dry here that I go ahead and water them at least once just to settle them into their hole, and then I just kind of leave them until I see some growth. So anyway, that is the plan. I just kind of wanted to show you where all those tubers are going to end up going. Well, all of them I can fit anyway, and then the rest I'm gonna give to family and friends. So anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and then we will be planting dahlias here very soon, and we'll show you that. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.